Hello, y'all, and welcome to the first lesson of the third module. In this lesson, we'll be looking at the product section. But basically, we're trying to add your first product to your Shopify store. As you can see on your screen right now, we are on the Shopify dashboard, and all we need to do is go to the left side of the dashboard where we have the product section that I'm hovering on right now, and then click on it. We have 3 products that have been pre-added, but I'll just add a new product so you see what that process looks like. So we'll come to the top right where you have the add product button and click on that. And then we have a whole bunch of fields we need to fill to kind of like describe our products. These are all product details. As you know, what we have for this e-commerce class, the Lumilocks business, and we do have a couple of products that we have, predefined. So yes, we'll update that right now. First thing you want to do is add a title. The title should be super, simple but descriptive of your product. In this case, we have a dual ring set. I like to make this an uppercase, but it's kind of left to you. It just makes it easier to stand out that, that's the name of that specific product. And the next thing we need to add is a description, something that embodies your, the product you're offering, and describes it properly. In this case, we have this beautiful description. Let's put some space here just so it's kind of like organized a little bit. And in the third section, which is the media, that's where we'll upload the pictures we have of our products. In this case, I will upload, 1 second, let me get the product photo. We do have, okay. So we have this image I'm dragging and dropping here. So that's our product photo. We could always add, a second one, and this is just so we have 2 products so you see what that looks like. Then we do have a second product photo, just drag and drop, and now you have 2 photos. The first one that's super, more, that's a little bit bigger, would be what's represented as the main image for your product. So you could always switch them. If you want this to be the first one, just drag and move over to the left, and now we have that as the first product photo. But I'll take this back and put this in place. For pricing, let's label this $49.99. Compared price is something that comes, later. These are cases where you want to offer a discount on a product. In that case, let's say this product goes for $49.99, like indicated here, and maybe for I don't know, Black Friday or something, you want to offer a discount. Maybe label it $29.99. What happens here is you take the $49.99 and paste over here, make it the compare at price, and then make this a $29.99. So that shows up as, $49.99 slash to $29.99. That's typically what that is. But we're not doing that right now, so I'll just take that back and make this a $49.99. Okay. So charge tax on this product, that's left to you consulting with your tax personnel. But like if you want to charge tax on this product, just make sure you select this, and I'll show you a little bit like what the taxation on Shopify looks like. I'm not going to go super deep into it because I'm not a tax expert, but I'll show you a little bit. The next thing here is cost per item. This section or these fields are not exposed to the customer. This is really for you to kind of like define certain things, and that's if you're willing to keep track of it. But as you can see here, it says customers won't see this. So for example, I'm selling this for $49.99. let's say my cost per item was $15. I'll just put that here, and you could obviously see it shows you the profits margin of $34.99 and 70% margin. So it's more of it just makes it easier for you to understand, the profits you're making on that specific product. The next section here we have is inventory. For drop shipping, maybe not exactly, but if you are tracking your inventory and you want to use Shopify to do that, that's a little bit deeper. But here I'll show you what this essentially means is if I were to uncheck this right now, then I'm not tracking any sort of inventory. I'm just selling as it goes. But here kind of hooks in with, how much you have at your shop location. And I'll show you that in the shipping side of things. We'll go a little bit deeper into inventory at some point. Well, not deeper, but I'll show you what inventory looks like. There's also the option to continue selling out of stock. Let's say we say shop location 2, and we say this is for shop location 2. But we also want to continue selling out of stock. So even if it's out of stock, the products will still be available. That's when you check this. But if you want this product to become unavailable as soon as the product is out of stock, then let's leave this unchecked, and I'll leave this unchecked. Let's say this section is about the stock keeping units. It just depends on how you've decided to label your products. If you have a specific barcode, you can put that in here. But I typically we've used stock keeping units for here, and I could say maybe this jewelry set is my 5th one, and I could label it SKU 00025. I don't know, like whatever your stock keeping unit is, that goes there. But that's this is just a unique identifier for that specific product. In this case, this is pre-selected. It's a physical product. I'm really focused on talking about physical products here, but in some cases, it might be a digital product you're selling. If this is unchecked, then it's a digital product, and that takes out the shipping part of it. I'll show you an application that will be really good for those of you who deal with digital products and work with, I guess, digital downloads. One free application you could use is called Digital Downloads, and I'll show you that right now as we go to 1 second. Let me get that. It's called Digital Downloads, and what that looks like is this. So it's in the Shopify App Store. It's free, and it really helps you sell digital files. So for those of you guys who are listening to this and are more interested in selling digital files on your website, go download this application and download this application to your Shopify store, and it's super self-explanatory. Okay, let's go back here. But in this case, we're currently dealing with a physical product, so I'm going to check this. And obviously jewelry, I don't know, I would say in this case 0.05 pounds, just to understand. The weight, if there's any extra customs information you're trying to add, go ahead and add it here. But that's basically it. But let's see what's in the custom information. Right, so in the custom informations, if this really deals with if you are selling internationally, right? So let's say I was selling to Canada, for example, and I said British Columbia. There's typically something referred to as a HS code for products that you sell. What is an HS code? It's really it's kind of like a system or coding system that is used by customs generally around the world. It helps customs identify what that product is really about. So most countries literally use the same codes for the same product. So if you're selling clothing for women, those type of things, you might want to put the HS code, in this case, jewelry, maybe rings for, rings for women, I guess. But also another resource that's really good is partialmonkey.com. They do have a good resource on HS codes. So that's another thing you can consult with. I'll show you that right now. It's right here. This is a good resource that you can, you can get with HS code. It explains what this HS code is, and it actually shows you some codes that you could, key off of if you're trying to figure out what are the codes that are required for your product. This is a good resource, but outside of that, just consult an expert. Okay, so let's kind of like ignore the HS code part. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So this. Let's see if I can get this out. Let's ignore that. So variants apply. This section is the variant section, and it applies if you have, a specific sizing or colors. In this case, this is a single product, so I don't have variants. I don't have a black or, something else, a pink version of it. But if you're selling clothing and you have different variants in terms of the sizes or the colors, all you need to do is come here, select a size, the option name. It could be size, color, material, style, what's the most popular around sizes and colors. So if you did size, you add the option values. We could do medium, or if you want, you could just do M. Let's start with small. Let's say S. And the next one is M. We do a large, and we do an XL, and maybe an XXL. Now that's for the sizing. So when you're done. Now we have all these sizes, and as you can see, they go off of the same stocking units. And you see it's 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 for this specific variants, and it's all the same prices. You could also decide the availability here, right? So let's say you have 10 of these, 11 of these, or 110 of these. You could also decide, or state out the number available of these different variants. Another thing I wanted to call out is outside of the size variant, another popular variant is the color. So let's say for the same products, you have a black one. Let's do a black, and then another value is a pink one. Right, so now we have black and pink colors for the same product. We come here and we do a done. As you can see now, I have small, but with small I have a black and a pink, right? And then with medium I do have a black and a pink. And you could always change these individually, like in terms of the availability numbers. Let's say 20 for this, and 10 for this, 100. Well, for large you now have 120, but the individual obviously 20 and 100. So that's how you do variants. Other type of options, you have material, style. It just depends on what you're trying to add. But here I just added those two. And I just went through this because they don't really apply to jewelry, but I know there's a bunch of fashion or clothing owners that will really need to understand this part of things. And also another thing I want to call out is you could always change the prices, right? In some cases, the XXL might be, slightly more expensive. Sometimes I've seen that happen, but yeah, you could always do that, right? And then this is the search engine listing. This is what it would look like. You could also edit that if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to delete this. Actually, I'll leave this no, I'll delete this. because it doesn't apply to the jewelry I'm talking about in terms of size and variance and all that stuff. But just for instructional purposes that we have now, sorry about that. But just because of this class, I'll leave the sizing in here so we can see how that comes out on the products page. Okay, so after you're done with the first column, let's move to the other side. Obviously, we want this to be active. If we're not trying to publish this, what this essentially means is if we're not trying to get this available on the website to the users, we could set it as draft. But right now, we want this to be active. Publishing channels, where are you trying to sell this product on? You click on this hamburger menu here and click on manage sales channels. You want these three to be selected: online store, POS, even though you don't have a POS right now, but in case you sell physically at some point and you get a Shopify POS and you set that up, and also the Shopify shop. So those three are already pre-selected. Make sure they're pre-selected. Scroll down here. Sometimes this automatically generates, like you can see here, it says jewelry. If it's not accurate, you could always change it to whatever specifically you want. If I wanted to say rings as a category instead, yeah, this might be, but I'll just leave it as jewelry. And then the product type, I might say rings, and then vendor Lumilocks, and then collections. This is something I'll come back to, but I'll also show you the importance of the collections area and the tags. For this, I want to add something here. I'll say rings, right? Or let's do ring sets. So we can tag this with ring sets because it's a set of rings, right? So call it ring sets. I just put an underscore ring underscore sets or ring dash sets, whichever one works for you, and do an add. Okay, so now we have something called ring sets to this product. When we're done with everything here, make sure this is set to active, and then go all the way to the top and click on save. So as soon as that is saved, you can see here it says active right next to the product's name, active. And it's looking good. And what do we do at this point? We want to see what this looks like. You can see at the top right here, we have duplicates, preview, and share. All we need to do at this point is click on preview. When you click on preview, that opens into a new tab. And with that new tab, you can see how our products page looks like. That's coming together. You see how the first image is very pretty. The sizing shows you the options. These are unavailable because there was no inventory numbers on it. So it's typically out of stock. That's what that really means. Black and pink unavailable too because I didn't set any inventory numbers. And when I say inventory numbers, this wasn't set on here. Let's see. You see how it's zeros and zeros. These are unavailable. So yes, they're out of stock. Let's go back here. And quantity, this is what a product page is looking like. We already set up the product page, but now you can see what an actual product looks like with the product name, the pricing, and all that stuff. Okay, let's go back. Before we go out of this, I wanted to show you one more thing. In this case, I just added a simple product, and you could always go through this flow if you wanted to add a new product. But if your products are kind of similar, why would you want to do that? You could always come to this option here called a duplicate. If you click on a duplicate, it literally, I'll just walk you through that and show you how it works. So in some cases where you have a bunch of products and they're similar, you don't need to individually create products every time. All you need to do is to click on duplicate, and it really asks you for the title of the new duplicate, right? So let's say in this case, I have I have another product called Celestial Constellation Set, right? I come here, I just take this out, Celestial Constellation Sets. I don't want the images, so let's not copy the images because we have our own images, right? Let's say we have our own images. I say no, I don't want these images. I don't want to copy these two because I want something unique for this product. Inventory quantities might be similar, so I might leave as is and update. Well, it all just depends. Like at the end of the day, I'll just show you what a duplicate looks like. But let's say we do this. Or let me actually leave these images and then switch it out so you get the concept. So I come over here all the way down here and I click on duplicate product. So now we have a new product that's in draft. You can see that this is in draft. It's not active yet. It also shows you at the right side of here that it's set to draft. So it's not active. So when you duplicate a product, by default, it's set up as draft. Now with that, I can come here. I already added the name. I can update the text here because the description is different for this product, right? So I want a new description. I would come on here and paste my new description, make it a little bit organized. And then now I want to add, you know, a new photo for this one. I could use the same photo right now because I don't necessarily have a new photo. So I'll just use the other photo that was the second photo on the last product. I'll just drag that here and use as the product photo for this. And then you can see we have the same size, the same black and pink color. So I don't need to set this up again like I said the first time. Let's say it's a different price on this product. I could update the price in here. Because I already have a bunch of variants, I don't want to update these variants individually. I'll just select this to select all on the end and do something called a bulk edit. Before we do that, let's save this product, right? Because I made some changes earlier that haven't been saved, or that hasn't been saved. So I click on save at the top here. And then I come back down and do a bulk edit. Click here and do a bulk edit. With this, I could just come over here to the price and do a shift, basically select all, right? And I wanted to make this specific product $39.99. Do a $39.99 for this product and we do a save. Right. So now we save the price for all the different variants of the Celestial Constellation ring set. Now let's go back to the product. You can see here it's all set to $39.99. You could always make changes to, you know, to the variants and anything you wanted to do. Let's say increase this to 50. So we're not out of stock. And same thing here, like it's the same thing. So it copies the ring sets because these are rings too, Lumilux rings, jewelry. So the duplicate just helps you get by, you know, that manual process of doing the same thing over and over again. So now we, like in less than how many minutes, we have a new product. Then all we need to do is come over here, make it active and save. And then now let's see what our product looks like by coming to the top right, like I mentioned earlier, and clicking on preview. Opens up a preview page. And yes, we have our second product called the Celestial Constellation. Okay, let's go back. Now, if you go back to this on the left side and click on the products, now we have 5 products. In addition to the 3 products we had it pre-added, now we have this Celestial Constellation ring set and this duo ring set. So that's really how you add products. Join me on the next lesson as I go through collections because those are super important to organizing your products. I'll see you at the next lesson.